Guys, let's settle this down. Orderblock versus FVG. Which one gives the better point of interest? I've been able to test this out on XAUSD, that is gold. So we're gonna go to the charts. Make sure you watch this video to the very end because you will be the one to call the results. I've been able to try it out to know when Orderblock plays out and to know when FVG plays out. So we're going to compare the two and know the one that gives out the better results. So watch this video to the very end and call the result for yourself. Let's go to the chart, guys. Alright, traders. So for Orderblocks, if you've been following what I put out here, you will know that it is actually the last candlestick reaction before the impulsive movement that breaks a structure. So you just have to highlight it and you can use it as your point of interest because it is a concept that comes with my strategy. And then FVG2, you can also use it as your point of interest. That is the gap price creates on the chart whenever there is an unequal movement between the buyers and the sellers. So these are two concepts, two important concepts that comes with our strategy, which is smart money concept. So now I'll be trying them out to know the one that gives out better point of interest on XAUSD, that is gold. We can also try out other currencies, but for this particular video, we'll be focusing more on XAUSD, that is gold. So I started from here. After I got this change of character to the downside, we got another break of structure further to the downside. So after getting this particular break of structure, I mapped out the origin, that is the order block that caused this particular break of structure, which is this level, and then this being the FVG very close to the order block. So here, when price was pushing up, you can see where price reacted at. Price reacted on the FVG and pushed down. So if I'm on this trade, I'll be expecting to take profits here because this is actually the point of reversal. But what happened? Price did not get there. So I'm going to see this as a break-even trade. But have it in mind that this is actually the first point where price reacted off FVG. Like I said, watch this video to the very end so that you'll be able to call the result yourself to know the one you should be using more on XAUSD, whether you should be waiting for your entries on other blocks or FVG. But here, price reacted off FVG and pushed down. So I'm going to see this as a break-even trade because it didn't get to full TP. Now, as price was pushing up, we got what? A break of structure here to the upside. So I also mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure and then the imbalance very close to the origin. Now, when price was pushing down from this particular FVG, what happened? It still tapped into this FVG and pushed up. Let me zoom in so that everyone will see. Okay. So it tapped into the FVG. It was very close to tapping into the order block, but it reacted off the FVG and missed the order block with just few points and moved straight to our direction, dishing out this massive push to the upside. So from that push, we got another break of structure. So let me zoom out. We have a lot, so I just want to make sure we start from the beginning. Okay, so from that push, what happened? We got another break of structure, this being the order block and the FVG. So you can see price did not get there, but I extended it. So that simply means along the line, price later tapped in, but we are not there yet. So I just want us to be going one after the other. So hope you are counting how many times price has reacted off FVG and how many times price has reacted off order block. So there are still times when price will react to two of them, but let's keep watching. So after this particular break of structure, following the current market structure, price did not come back into the FVG nor the order block. So from there, we continue to push to the upside. We got another break of structure to the upside, this being the order block, and here we have the FVG present, but you can also see that price did not come back at that level. So let's keep moving forward. Then from here, you can see instead of price coming back to this level, it reacted off this FVG here and continued to push up. So that's another point, price reacted off FVG. And now what do we have here? Another break of structure. You can see how tiny it is. There's another break of structure, and I mapped out the origin, that is the order block. I'm trying to zoom in so that everyone will see. I mapped out the origin, that's the order block here, and then we have a tiny imbalance there. So for this particular one, price reacted off order block and pushed to our direction. We got another break of structure. I mapped out the origin and price reacted off order block here too and pushed to our direction. Hope you are counting. So at the end of this video, I want you to drop the winner in the comments. All right. So price continued to push to the upside. We got a break of structure here. So from here, price did not come back to the origin, and I mapped out this level as, support, because whenever I have an origin without FVG, I see that particular origin as a support. So I need an order block to have a clear FVG present for me to consider that order block as valid. So let's keep moving forward. So from here, we got another tiny break of structure. What happened? I mapped out the order block, which is this one here, and then the FVG very close. What happened? Price tapped into the FVG, pushed to our direction, still pushing up. So as price moved to our direction, we got another break of structure here, and then I mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure, which is the order block, with this tiny FVG present, and then from here, price reacted off order block and pushed to our direction. So what do we have here again? A break of structure. So we are in on a bullish market. So that's why market is kind of buying. So as the market is bullish, hope you're also learning something. You just keep buying until you see reasons to, change direction. So here we got a break of structure. What happened? I mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure, that is the order block, and then the imbalance that is very close. Now, when price came back, it tapped what? Into the FVG, pushed to our direction, and dished out a new break of structure. So dishing out a new break of structure, you can see this being the origin, this particular origin that caused this break of structure, we don't have any imbalance present, so I'm not seeing it as a valid origin. So normally I will not take trades from there, so that's why I did not bother mapping out the origin. And then from there, price gave us what? A change of character. So let's keep moving forward. So you can see we've been buying, now we've gotten what? A change of character. So after I got the change of character, what happened? Price dished out the origin here, so I mapped it out, and then this being the FVG very close to the origin, so I mapped it out. You can see when price came back, it tapped into the FVG and also tapped into the order block. So take note. So two of them delivered very nice results here, and price continued to push further to the downside. We got another break of structure here. I mapped out the order block that caused the break of structure and the imbalance. So what happened when price came back into the origin? It tapped into the imbalance and continued to push to the downside. Hope you are taking notes how many times price is tapping in, because I would want you guys to drop the results and then I will know whether you are correct or not. Okay, now price dished out another break of structure to the downside. I mapped out the origin, and you can see from this current market structure, I extended the origin. So that simply means price later tapped in, but we'll get there. Now, a break of structure mapped out the origin. Price did not come there, so we continue to push to the downside. Another break of structure, even as price got to this particular support. So this was the last break of structure before price got to this support. And then what happened? The buyers came in from the support level, dished out a new break of structure here, or we can even call it a change of character. So dished out a change of character here. What happened? I mapped out the origin that caused the change of character and the FVG present. So here price reacted off the FVG and also the order block and dished out, tiny movements, but it didn't give us full TP, because full TP would have been at this point of reversal, but it didn't give us full TP. So we can take this one as a break-even trade. And from there, price rallied to the downside. So I guess price reacted off these key levels here and, rallied to the downside. So from that point, we got what? A change of character further to the downside, and price continued to break structures to the downside. Now, if you can remember this particular origin, let's take it back. You can remember this particular origin. From here, price didn't come back to it, so that was why I extended it, and you can see when price tapped in. So price tapped into this particular order block. So here, order block dished out the movement, because if you check the origin, we also have imbalance. So let me try extending the imbalance so that you will know that price also reacted off order block here and then validated that of imbalance. So you can see this is the imbalance present and this is the order block, and price reacted off order block and pushed up, giving us a change of character because this was the last break of structure before market tapped in. It dished out a change of character here. So after we got the change of character, so this is more like a confirmation entry. Let's say if you did not enter from this order block, but price tapped in from this order block. So order block is dishing out the moves here. So the order block dished out a change of character. I also mapped out the origin that caused the change of character, which is this order block, and then the imbalance present. So this is now where imbalanced traders got their entry. So price came back, tapped into the imbalance and neglected the order block here and continued to push further to the upside, dishing out massive movement. Now, this particular order block here, I also stated that price did not come back. You can see where I was expecting price to come back. Price did not come back. It continued to push to the downside, but you can now see when price tapped in. So here, order block still delivered the moves. Are you taking note how many times FVG has tapped in and how many times order block has tapped in? Take notes, guys. So let's keep watching. So price tapped in, order block dished out, massive movement here. You can see when price tapped in, massive movement to the downside. So let's keep moving forward. So after price dished out this massive movement to the downside, you can also see where it reacted from. You can see that we have order block here and FVG. Let's trace this down to know where this origin is coming from. So this is an origin that was left unmitigated after price dished out this break of structure. You can see when price actually mitigated this particular origin, and you can see that it pierced through the FVG and tapped into the order block. So from there, we started getting pushed to the upside. Now, as we were getting the push to the upside, we got an internal break of structure here. So this being the origin, this is the origin, and this is the FVG present. So price tapped into the FVG and continued to push to the upside. So moving on, we have another point here. Let me reduce the font a little so that everyone will see. Okay. So moving on, we have a break of structure here. What happened? I mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure, that is the order block, and then the FVG here. So when price came back, it pierced through the FVG, tapped into the order block, continued to do what? To push to the upside. So this particular origin dished out a break of structure for us. So like I stated, this particular origin now that caused this break of structure, we don't have FVG here, so I'm seeing it as a support. So you can see from there, price continued to push up to just continue to rally to the upside, and from there we got another retracement. So I mapped this level out after we got this tiny break of structure. I mapped this FVG here and also this other block, and you can see price invalidated the two, both the FVG and the other block, tapping into this support and dishing out more buys. So let's keep moving, guys. Now from here, we got another break of structure. I mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure and the FVG. So when price came back, it indeed tapped into the FVG, and it was as if it was it's going to move to our direction. But what happened? Price returned, tapped into the other block, and moved straight to our direction. So other block is dishing out the moves now. So let's keep moving. So from the direction, what happened? We got another internal break of structure here. Price, gave us the origin here, and then this is the FVG, and you can see how price tapped into the FVG and continued to push up. Then from here we got another break of structure, but I didn't map out the origin because there is no FVG there, so I'm not seeing the origin as a valid one to take trades from. From there we got this push to the downside. So price tapped into this particular order block here because when it was moving, price did not come back into this particular order block, but now it has tapped into this order block and dished out this push to the upside. And from that movement, we were getting internal structure. So you can see a break of structure here, This being the origin, price came back into the order block. So here, order block is dishing out the moves. Another break of structure, price came back into the order block, dished out movement. I will see this trade as, a trade that will hit my SL if I actually took the trade from this particular order block, because you can see from here, it dished out the movement, retraced, pierced through the order block before moving up. So this is the type of trade that will hit your SL and still move to your direction. So here, I will just see this order block as one that is invalidated. Okay, so moving on, a break of structure to the upside, I mapped out the origin that caused the break of structure here, and I also mapped out this particular point and the FVG, and you can see where price came back into, tapped into the FVG and continued to push to the upside. So here, FVG is dishing out the moves. Another break of structure, origin, price came back into the order block, dished out the movement. So here, order block, dishing out the movement. Another break of structure, the order block, price came back into the order block, dished out the movement. Another break of structure. So this particular origin, no FVG present. So it will not be the type of origin I'll be looking to take trades from. So price started pushing to the upside, to the downside, guys. Price started pushing to the downside. And then what do we have? A break of structure to the downside. This being the last break of structure before price tapped into the support, we got a change of character. So I mapped out the origin that caused the change of character and the FVG present. You can see price did not come back to it, but I can see that I've extended this particular OB. So I think price later tapped into it. So let's keep moving forward. A break of structure to the upside. I mapped out the order block. Price came back into the order block, continued to dish out. Another break of structure, price came back into the order block, continued to dish out. Another break of structure, price came back into the order block. So here, order block was just dishing out the movement back to back. And then here, we have break of structure to the upside. I mapped out this being the origin. The origin is a very long one, so I just mapped out the FVG, and then price did not even come back to it. So moving on, guys. Okay. So from here, we got this break of structure. I mapped out the order block, price tapped into the order block, pushed to our direction. And then we got a change of character here. I mapped out the origin that caused the change of character and the FVG that caused the change of character. So you can see how price reacted and tapped into the FVG and dished out this massive movement, giving us a break of structure. Now tapping into this particular FVG that I left pending, it still dished out a clean move, but it didn't dish out full TP. So this is a break-even trade. And from there, what happened? We got a break of structure to the downside. So after getting the break of structure, this is the origin that caused the break of structure, and this is the FVG. What happened? Price tapped into the FVG and continued to dip to the downside. So from there, we got this break of structure, another break of structure. I wasn't paying attention to the origins, but you can see this particular OB here that I mapped out. If we check where this order block is coming from, you can see this unmitigated order block here. This was actually when price tapped into this particular order block and dished out massive push to the upside. So as price was dishing out the massive push, I also pointed out a change of character here, and I mapped out the origin that caused the change of character and the FVG. So you can see when price tapped in. Here, price pierced through the FVG and tapped into order block. So let's continue. As price was also pushing up, I also mapped out this particular OB and this FVG, and you can see when price tapped in, it reacted off FVG, but this is a break-even trade because price did not give us full TP. So here we have a break of structure, the order block, price tapped into the order block. Another break of structure here, and then I mapped out the order block and FVG. Here price pierced the two, both the order, it's invalidated the FVG and the order block, but then reacting generally to the origin and pushing up, although it still didn't dish out full TP because full TP is meant to be here. So this is kind of a break-even trade, or let's say a scalp trade. So after this change of character, I mapped out the order block that caused this change of character, and we have the tiny FVG there. So what happened? Price tapped into the order block, pushed to our direction. I've already explained this one. After price gave us this break of structure, price tapped into the order block, invalidating the FVG and pushing to our direction. So here we got another break of structure. I guess I did not even see this one when I was backtesting. So let me map it out here and also explain what happened there. A break of structure, this being the origin that caused the break of structure, the price tapping, or if we consider this as the origin, that's the order block. You can see price tapped in. Here price tapped into order block. This is the FVG. So price tapped into order block and dished out this movement. So let's keep moving forward. A break of structure, you can see here clearly price tapped into FVG and continue to dish out massive push to the upside. So even as price tapped into this FVG, you can also see after we got this internal break of structure here, what happened? Price tapped into the FVG and not the order block and continue to push to the upside. Another break of structure, this particular origin, no FVG, so that's why I mapped it out as support. Let's keep moving forward. A break of structure, price tapped both into the origin, although it invalidated both the FVG and order block, so that one is not a valid one. So price slashing down, tapping into the support and moving to the upside. We got a break of structure, and now we have this unmitigated order block here, so we'll see what happens to it later on. But let's keep moving forward. A break of structure, I mapped out the origin and FVG, and you can see what price did here. Reacted off FVG and pushed to our direction. And then another break of structure, I mapped out the origin and the FVG. So let's see what happened. Price didn't come back there yet. A break of structure to the upside, more break of structures to the upside. Now we don't have FVG here, so this is kind of a support. And then price dished out a change of character. Here it tapped into the FVG, dished out little movement, and then dropped to the downside after reacting off these key levels there. So now we have a break of structure, another break of structure. So this particular break of structure here, this one, this was the last break of structure. Now, if you can remember this particular order block that I left pending, and you can see how price tapped into this order block, pushed to our direction, dishing out full TP at the point of reversal. That is this resistance level here. And then this full movement also gave us a change of character to the upside, introducing buyers. But let's see if that lasted. I mapped out the origin that caused this particular change of character and the FVG. Price invalidated that, and then we continue to push to the downside. More break of structures to the downside. Now, if you can remember this particular order block that I left pending, you can see how price tapped into this order block and pushed. So in case you don't know where the order block is coming from, this is it. So let's keep moving forward. A change of character, mapped out the origin, price didn't come back. Now at this point, this is another origin price created for this change of character, and then this is the FVG, and you can see when price tapped into the FVG and then dished out massive movement from here. So here price tapped into FVG, dished out massive movement. Another break of structure. So what do we have? This being the origin and FVG, you can see when price tapped into FVG and continued to push to our direction. Another FVG price still returned and tapped into FVG, continued to push to our direction. Another break of structure, and after the origin and the FVG, price tapped into the FVG. We also have this particular FVG here, but price did not return here. So another break of structure, the origin, there is no FVG, so I didn't map it out. Another break of structure, this being the order block, FVG, price did what? Tapped into the FVG. So I guess this was actually where I stopped my backtesting, because if I keep going, so I stopped around January 25th. So if I keep going, it's going to be a lot. This video is going to be very long because I needed to test it out to know the one I should actually stick to. So let me know in the comments the one that got the highest tap-ins and the one you think we should start using on XAUSD. So let me know in the comments, guys. And thanks for watching. Await more videos because I'll be dropping more educational videos. And then if you also want to get more tips on how to trade and how to actually utilize this strategy to make good money, you check the description for my WhatsApp number, message me to join the VIP group, because in there we also get to test out other pairs to know what to actually use on those pairs and make money. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.